It breaks my heart. I am so proud of the girls. There are a handful of girls now who are suing their state's attorney general and the high school sports governing body that has allowed this to happen because of their discriminatory policies that exclude women from the women's category. Cannot believe this is happening.
Yeah, I have never seen an organization more committed to self-imploding than the WNBA. A few weeks ago, I made this video highlighting how it appears Brittney Griner said bleep white girl after fouling out in a game against Indiana Fever, the team that Caitlin Clark plays for. Some people like Jamel Hill, former ESPN host, says that no, she didn't say bleep white girl. She says bleep whack call, to which she then went on to call me a grifter for even pointing this out, but besides the point. You can watch and make up your own mind as to what it appears.
Riley Gaines just lit the WNBA on fire, and Brittney Griner is at the center of the storm. After Griner's controversial comments about Caitlin Clark were conveniently brushed aside, Riley came out swinging. The former Olympic swimmer said exactly what millions of fans were thinking, and she didn't pull any punches. Now the league is scrambling to clean up the mess, and it might be too late. Do you think Riley Gaines was right to expose the double standards in the WNBA? Or should she have stayed out of the basketball spotlight? Either way, one thing's clear. This league has a talent for sabotaging itself. Just a few weeks ago, footage surfaced showing what many believe to be Brittney Griner making some heated remarks about Caitlin Clark right after fouling out against the Indiana Fever. Some rushed to defend her, claiming she was talking about the refs. But the timing, her tone, and that body language tell a very different story.
Fox News, I ain't never seen this lady a day in my life. Why'd y'all hire this woman?
The USA basketball chair actually said it would be irresponsible to put Caitlin Clark on the U.S. women's Olympic basketball team, all while putting Brittney Griner on the team. I think with the extreme controversy that she brings.
Let me jump in, Riley, because you say it a lot there. I'm not sure what you mean by the controversy that Brittney Griner brings to the game. I mean, that's kind of not fair to say without explanation.
Well, I mean, I think given everything that happened overseas, given that she was put in jail, I mean, the controversy is certainly there, whether we want it there or not.
Not her fault and wrongly accused. Let's be fair. That's Riley. I like you a lot too. That's not right. She was wrongfully accused. That is not fair to bring that up. So we're gonna delete that. Okay, let's you and I continue.
She literally tried to tell Riley Gaines that Brittney Griner was unlawfully detained. What are you saying? Fox, get this lady off y'all show.
Riley Gaines wasn't going to sit back and stay quiet. While the mainstream sports media twisted itself into knots trying to spin the narrative, Gaines stepped forward with a brutal dose of truth that has the entire WNBA on edge. What makes this moment so powerful is that Riley isn't just some outsider looking in. She's speaking from personal experience. She's lived through the kind of injustice most people are too scared to talk about. As a top-tier swimmer, she was forced to compete against biological males in women's events, and instead of staying silent like so many others, she spoke out. She's faced backlash, been attacked, and painted as controversial simply for standing up for fairness in women's sports. Riley knows what it's like to be targeted for telling the truth, and now she's using that same fearless voice to call out the WNBA.
Thursday night, Indiana Fever and Atlanta Dream played. Indiana Fever is where Caitlin Clark plays. Atlanta Dream is where Brittney Griner plays. Now you tell me what it looks like Brittney Griner is saying here. For a little bit of context, this was in the fourth quarter after Brittney Griner fouled out against Caitlin Clark, and Indiana Fever would go on to win by 5. Now I'm going to tell you what I think she said. Let's play it back. Looks to me like she is saying trash and then calling Caitlin Clark a bleep white girl. Just a reminder, this is who Joe Biden traded for the Russian merchant of death. So many WNBA players hate Caitlin Clark so much when she is the best thing that could have happened to the league. And she's not the best thing that happened to the league because she's white, it's because she's a good player. It's because she's the best player. Now, imagine if Caitlin Clark said the inverse of this. It would be reprehensible, condemned, and understandably so. You've got all of these individual players. You have sports commentators, people like Ryan Clark, who constantly tout of the racial tensions that exist in the league, when in reality, They are the ones perpetuating and amplifying these racial tensions with their anti-white hatred for Caitlin Clark.
Riley Gaines knew exactly what she was looking at. The moment she saw the WNBA protect certain players while letting others take the fall, she recognized the double standard instantly, and she picked the perfect time to speak up, right as the league wasted time and energy investigating completely baseless accusations against Caitlin Clark's fans, all while ignoring real, documented incidents caught on video. What Riley did next was nothing short of surgical. She went straight to social media and dismantled Brittney Griner's position piece by piece. She didn't just criticize the alleged comments, she reminded everyone of the larger context that makes this whole thing even more absurd. Let's not forget, the US government traded a notorious international arms dealer, Victor Bout, nicknamed the Merchant of Death, to bring Brittney Griner home from a Russian prison. A man who armed violent conflicts around the globe was swapped for her. And now, after being given that kind of support, Griner turns around and reportedly takes shots at another American athlete? Riley Gaines asked the question no one in the media would dare to. What if the roles were reversed? Imagine if Caitlin Clark had been caught on video making similar remarks about Brittney Griner. The outrage would be instant, headlines would explode, sponsors would flee, and the WNBA would likely hand out a suspension before the clip even finished playing. But because it's Griner making the remarks and Clark on the receiving end, suddenly it's all unclear audio and don't jump to conclusions. The hypocrisy is glaring, and fans are waking up to it. What makes Gaines' response so effective is that she didn't just call out one player, she exposed a deeper issue within the WNBA, a culture more interested in protecting its preferred narratives than in delivering fairness or accountability.
What Griner says, there is one way to find out. Ask Brittney Griner. However, no one has done that except for Outkick. It's been over 2 weeks since Griner said this. Instead, the WNBA was investigating a bogus race hoax made up by Angel Reese about Indiana Fever fans. And I say bogus because they found no evidence that supports Angel Reese's claims. So we at Outkick applied for media credentials to cover Brittney Griner's team, the Atlanta Dreams, game on June 6th, to which, shocker, they denied us. We've never had trouble getting media credentials with any professional sports league in the past, but wouldn't you know, now they suddenly have very limited space, which is total baloney. They just want to suppress any sort of uncomfortable inquiries from media. Regardless, we at Outkick are going to keep asking the tough questions, the questions that people want the answer to. And if you do call yourself a reporter or a journalist from an outlet like ESPN or any other sports outlet for that matter, and you have access to these settings and you're not asking those questions, you're really no reporter or journalist at all. At least not one.
When Outkick tried to get media credentials to question Brittney Griner directly about her alleged comments, the WNBA slammed the door in their face. That's when Riley Gaines really let loose. She pointed out what nobody else in the mainstream media had the guts to say. Outkick was the only outlet actually trying to hold Griner accountable, while other reporters either stayed silent or bent over backwards making excuses. The moment someone attempted to ask real questions, the league shut it down. The WNBA denying access to a media outlet simply for wanting answers. That's a huge blow to their credibility. This is a professional league that relies on publicity and fan interest. But when a journalist tries to do their job and ask fair, necessary questions, suddenly the league goes into lockdown mode. Riley Gaines called it exactly how it is. She exposed the hypocrisy with precision. The WNBA had no issue launching full-blown investigations into completely made-up claims against Caitlin Clark fans. They put out statements, ran inquiries, and acted like they were protecting the integrity of the game. But when there's actual video footage of one of their own players possibly making offensive remarks toward the league's most talked about rookie, crickets. No statements, no investigation, just silence. Gaines nailed the league with one brutal quote on Fox News. "I've never seen an organization more committed to self-imploding than the WNBA." She went on to break down exactly why this kind of behavior not only reeks of bias, but also damages the league's future. It's not just about one controversy, it's about a pattern of selective outrage and protecting the wrong narratives.
Good morning, Brittney. I'm Bill Roden from ESPN and Skate. It's really great to see you. It's good to know the prayers have been answered. The question, you've always represented so much throughout your entire career about access and, being able to do stuff. And I hate to put one more thing on your plate, but there are a number of states who are aggressively moving to prevent transgender athletes playing. And I was wondering, again, I hate to put one more thing on your plate, but in terms of on your radar, where is that You're going to have a tremendous platform, but where is that going to be on your radar in terms of advocating for, athletes, all athletes, transgender athletes, to be able to play?
Oh, I mean, that ranks high on the list of things that I'll be fighting for and speaking up against. You know, everyone deserves the right to play. Everyone deserves the right to come here, sit in these seats, and feel safe and not feel like there's a threat or they can't be who they are or like it's just all eyes on them. I think it's a crime, honestly, to separate someone for any reason. So I definitely will be speaking up against that legislation and those laws that are trying to be passed, for sure.
The timing of Riley Gaines' response couldn't have been more perfect. It came right on the heels of the WNBA spending energy and resources chasing completely fabricated allegations against Caitlin Clark's fans, while turning a blind eye to actual controversies caught on video. This is a league that will leap into action over fake outrage, but won't lift a finger when real evidence is staring them in the face. And Gaines didn't just stop there. She also called out ESPN's Jay Hill for trying to run cover for Brittney Griner. Hill claimed that Griner didn't say what many believe she said during the now viral clip, insisting it was something entirely different. But as Gaines rightly pointed out, anyone can watch the video and judge for themselves. That's the antidote to all this gaslighting. Don't tell people what to think, just let them watch and decide. What's truly alarming is how far some in the media are willing to go to twist obvious audio and video evidence to protect certain players. That level of spin shows just how committed they are to defending a narrative rather than holding people accountable. The most frustrating part? This situation could have been handled with basic common sense. If the WNBA is going to open investigations into unproven fan behavior, then it should absolutely be willing to investigate a player when there's clear video footage involved. And if they're granting media access for some stories, they should do it across the board for every legitimate outlet. But instead of being consistent, the league has put its hypocrisy on full display. And Riley Gaines just made sure the spotlight was turned all the way up.
A lot of people are talking about the Olympics, but not for the right reasons. So let me shed some light into a story that not too many people are talking about. I'm sure a majority of you know who Riley Gaines is and who is Brittney Griner. So Riley Gaines laid into Brittney Griner for kneeling during the national anthem. You don't have to sing or anything, but you need to show some respect for the country that saved you from a Russian gulag. True. If y'all forgot, Brittney Griner was a 32-year-old that was arrested in Moscow on February 17, accused of entering Russia with a vape cartridge containing cannabis oil, which is illegal in Russia. She was sentenced to 9 years in Russian labor. Obviously, this was a whole political thing. This was immediately after Russia invaded Ukraine. However, America fought for her and got her back in a one-on-one exchange with another prisoner, but that prisoner is one of the biggest arms dealers ever, Victor Bout. So you bring something illegal to a country, that country arrests you, and then America does everything to try and get you back here just for you to kneel during the national anthem?
The bigger picture behind this controversy makes Riley Gaines' comments hit even harder. Caitlin Clark has done more for the WNBA than any player in recent memory. She's packed stadiums, brought in millions of new fans, and reignited national interest in women's basketball. But instead of rallying around their biggest star, the league seems more focused on appeasing players who are clearly bitter about her rise. Rather than protect the athlete who's elevating the league, the WNBA has chosen to chase fake scandals that paint Clark in a bad light, while ignoring legitimate controversies involving other players. That's the upside-down logic Gaines is calling out. She sees a league sabotaging itself from within, more worried about fragile egos than seizing a golden opportunity for growth. Clark is the kind of once-in-a-generation talent that could transform the WNBA, but instead of embracing that, the league seems more concerned with catering to those who can't handle her success. And Gaines knows exactly where this road leads, because she's walked it herself. She understands that fans won't stick around if they feel like the league is playing favorites. The new audience Caitlin has drawn in isn't going to tolerate double standards forever. They want transparency, they want fairness, and Gaines is speaking directly to that. As someone who's been through the fire, forced to compete against biological males in women's swimming, and attacked for speaking out about it, Gaines knows what it's like when sports institutions turn their back backs on their own athletes in the name of political convenience. So when she sees the WNBA doing the exact same thing to Caitlin Clark, she recognizes the red flags, and she's not afraid to call them out. That's exactly what she did when the league denied Outkick Media credentials, the only outlet actually trying to ask Brittney Griner directly about her comments caught on video. Instead of addressing the issue, the WNBA shut the door on real journalism, hoping the controversy would just go away. But Gaines made sure that didn't happen. She brought national attention to the league's attempt to control the narrative by blocking tough questions. And in doing so, she exposed the WNBA's biggest weakness, its unwillingness to hold all players to the same standard. Her most cutting criticism, calling the WNBA an organization that's actively working against its own success. And honestly, it's hard to argue with that. Caitlin Clark could take this league to unprecedented heights, but instead of building around her, they're busy creating unnecessary drama and alienating fans. What makes Gaines so effective is that she's not just reacting to one incident, she's connecting the dots. She's revealing a deeper, ongoing pattern of bias, favoritism, and selective enforcement within the WNBA. This isn't about one video clip or one denied press pass. It's about a league that continues to shoot itself in the foot while pretending everything is fine. And let's be clear, Gaines isn't involved in basketball for the drama. She's a swimmer. She has no horse in this race, but she spent years fighting for fairness in sports. And when she sees the same narrative manipulation happening here, she's not going to sit on the sidelines. Thankfully, she spoke up because the mainstream sports media sure wasn't going to. The footage of Brittney Griner says more than enough, but it's the league's response, or lack thereof, that really shows where their priorities lie. The WNBA had every chance to handle this the right way, investigate what happened, be transparent, and move forward. But instead, they closed ranks and chose to protect a narrative that doesn't hold up under even the slightest scrutiny. Riley Gaines didn't just comment on that failure. She put it under a spotlight, and now the entire sports world is paying attention. The WNBA is at a crossroads. They can take this criticism seriously and start holding everyone to the same standards, or they can keep digging themselves deeper by doubling down on the hypocrisy. Given their recent behavior, it's not hard to guess which direction they'll take, but at least now, thanks to Gaines, no one can pretend they don't see what's going on. What's most revealing in all this is how the WNBA seems to have its priorities completely upside down. Instead of riding the wave of momentum Caitlin Clark has brought, filling arenas, breaking viewership records, and drawing in millions of new fans, the league appears more focused on defending players who feel threatened by her success. Clark has already reshaped the sport, and she's only in her second season, but rather than celebrate her impact, there are factions within the league that clearly resent it, and WNBA leadership seems more concerned with keeping those voices happy than standing by the player who's revolutionizing the game. That kind of dysfunction is exactly what Riley Gaines has made a name for exposing. She's seen it in her own sport, how organizations lose sight of their mission by chasing ideological agendas instead of supporting their athletes. And now she sees the WNBA falling into the same trap. Their job should be simple: grow the game and protect the players who are elevating it. But instead, they're investigating fake controversies, silencing legitimate questions from journalists, and turning a blind eye when one of their own, in this case Brittney Griner, makes questionable on-camera remarks. That's not leadership, that's failure. The most powerful part of Gaines' response is how she's forced the WNBA and everyone watching to confront these contradictions. She's pulled back the curtain on the league's double standards and exposed them for what they really are, a betrayal of the values they claim to represent. Now, the WNBA has a decision to make. They can admit they've messed up and start correcting course, or they can continue down the path of denial and dysfunction. And based on how they've handled things so far, it's clear which way they're heading. But thanks to Gaines, they're doing it in full public view. This wasn't just another hot take from someone chasing headlines. Riley Gaines is an Olympic-level athlete who's been through the fire. She's dealt with sports institutions that tried to silence her for speaking up about fairness and integrity. So when she sees the same pattern playing out in women's basketball, she's not going to keep quiet. And let's be honest, if she hadn't stepped in, the mainstream sports media probably would have kept looking the other way. The video of Brittney Griner says everything you need to know, but it's the league's response. Blocking Outkick from asking questions, dodging accountability, one that proves Gaines' point. When organizations try to suppress information and avoid transparency, it's usually because they know they're in the wrong. By speaking up, Gaines forced the WNBA to face reality, and everything they've done since has only confirmed her warning. This is a league that looks like it's on a path to self-destruction, and Riley Gaines just made sure the whole world is watching it unfold. She didn't just speak truth to power, she delivered a wake-up call the WNBA couldn't ignore. Her fearless stand against double standards and media manipulation has put the league on notice. The question now is, will they listen? Let me know what you think in the comments. Is Riley Gaines right about the WNBA's direction? Hit that like button and subscribe for more bold takes and breaking updates.